flash flooding hits the metro, an encore of yesterday happening in some places again today. We're tracking the rain and when things will start to dry out. Students in Colorado's second largest school district are going back to school, and the district is facing a bus driver shortage for a second straight year.
We're just trying to load buses. We're trying to stretch out the route and try to pick up more as we go.
Plus, Douglas County has spent only a fraction of the money it got after the STEM school shooting.
I knew that this was in response to STEM, and I knew how valuable this money was, so I wanted to spend it wisely.
Denver 7 Investigates is looking into where the money went. Another round of flash flooding hits the metro this morning. This video from Broomfield showing the flooded streets out near Midway Park. The National Weather Service says Broomfield got nearly 4 inches of rain this morning. Here's a check of current road conditions. Plenty of rain out there on this CDOT camera on US 36 in Boulder. Now, we do have team coverage. Katie LaSalle is timing out when this rain will finally move out. But first, we want to get to Veronica Acosta standing by in the Marshall Fire burn zone in Superior. Veronica, how are conditions out there?
We're getting the lightest bit of rain now. At some point, it was a little bit heavier. You will see some pooling here behind me in a bit, but we did have to make our way through Broomfield, which you just mentioned, got up to 4 inches of rain today already. And we were definitely seeing those effects this morning. We were seeing some of those backups, some accidents there as well. And of course, that rain was pounding down on us as we were making our way into the Sagamore neighborhood, which is where we are this morning. And take a look, some of that pooling here, like I mentioned, the rain has pretty much stopped. It's just the lightest bit of drizzle, but in areas that used to be basements, we know there used to be family homes right in this neighborhood. You can see that's where that water all pooled up and ended up. Months ago, this area, again, homes very different than what it looks like now. But for the most part, it looks like it made it through that heavier bit of rain that we got earlier this morning. Not too much issues here besides just the lightest bit of pooling. We're live in Superior. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, Veronica, thank you. Team coverage now with Katie LaSalle. Now, things are easing up, Katie, in the metro, but still the risk for flooding remains down south.
Yes, we do have some flood advisories in place right now. And let me take you outside to our radar and satellite because it is still raining pretty hard in spots. You can see down through Centennial, out on E470, a flood advisory has been issued down south, just right there in areas south of Aurora, out to Watkins and Foxfield and up into Boulder. We do have another advisory that will remain in place until at least 12:15. Now, we did have a flood warning in effect for Broomfield where we saw 3.6 inches of rainfall in as little as 30 minutes. Thankfully, the rain is easing up, skies are clearing out to our west, but down south, flood watches still remain in effect for our southern San Juan and Sangre de Cristo mountain range. Here across the metro area, as we take you through Futurecast, still this afternoon we have the chance for a little more moisture. More storms form over Winter Park, Evergreen, moving into Highlands Ranch. Rain possible for the evening commute, so another round of wet weather and wet roadways expected. Could see some of that pooling, hydroplaning a concern, but the risk of flooding will be less as we head into this evening and tomorrow. A lot more sunshine and some warmer air. We'll talk more about that still to come.
Yeah, the dry out to come, Katie. Thank you. Now watch out for flooding along the Cherry Creek Trail in Denver today because of all that recent rain. It's got to flow somewhere and flows downhill. Now the city says it will have crews clean up any debris out there on the trail after the water recedes. And remember, you can check the current radar and get 24/7 Colorado weather updates right on your TV. Just download the free Denver 7 Plus app for your favorite streaming device. Body camera video of this Lodo shooting where Denver police officers shot into a crowd is expected to be released today. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live from where that shooting happened as the bars let out. Christian, police say they shot at a man who flashed a gun at them first.
And Jason, we've been waiting on that footage all morning. We don't know exactly what time it will be released, but since that shooting a month ago here at 20th and Larimer, community members have really been pressing police officers for answers as to why they shot into that crowd of people when they were chasing the suspect, Jordan Waddy. We know that 6 innocent bystanders who were just enjoying a night out, they did suffer various injuries, including a man who had a bullet lodged into his arm. Until now, we've only seen a still frame photo from a body camera that shows what police say is Waddy flashing a gun at them, though there is no evidence that he ever fired it. We've also seen a photo of a 10mm handgun police say that they found here at the scene. And under Colorado law, audio and footage of an incident has to be released within 21 days of a request when there is a misconduct complaint. And today is that deadline, which is why we are expecting that footage to be released at some point. This case is also in the hands of the Citizen Oversight Board, so they'll review whether Denver officers responded appropriately or not. And last week, board members told us that they're closely tracking this incident, but the speed of these investigations can be slow, which is frustrating.
I think that's the most unfortunate condition of police accountabilities that can often be very slow, in particular because now there's a criminal investigation because people were shot. That makes it even slower, right? We've got outside parties in the DA's office and the Colorado State Patrol conducting an external investigation. And while I'm sure they are eager to get to the outcomes as quickly as possible,
that board will continue looking into the case, but they tell us that their hands are somewhat tied until that investigation into whether or not police acted lawfully is complete. Again, we're waiting on that footage, and as soon as it's released, we will bring it to you. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Still a lot of questions to be answered on behalf of Denver police, including the biggest one, why? Christian, thank you so much. Now, a stabbing involving 2 students is prompting more security at Jefferson High School out in Greeley. It happened yesterday in a hallway when one student stabbed another with a knife as kids went to lunch. Police say the attacker is facing charges, including first-degree assault. Denver 7 contacted Greeley police late Monday for more details on where the SRO, the student resource officer, was when all this happened. We haven't heard back yet. A deadly shooting at STEM School Highlands Ranch in 2019 impacted so many students and so many families. Days later, Douglas County leaders pledged millions of dollars to boost school security and better treat mental health. Well, last year, our Denver 7 investigative team found only a fraction of those dollars were spent. Investigative reporter Jennifer Kowaleski continues her reporting on the safety of students.
So we have a shooter in room 10. We do have one person shot in the lower back.
When a school shooting happens,
I just need my kid.
There are no easy answers, but there are always lessons learned.
We learned some lessons from STEM.
Do you believe the district is in a better place today if there were to be another tragedy?
Yes, the district is in a better place and we're continuing to improve.
Johnny Gruising is the new head of school security in Douglas County. Days after the STEM school shooting in Highlands Ranch back in 2019, DougCo leaders gave $10 million to the district to improve school security and mental health.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
$6 million went to public schools for safety. Last year, Denver 7 Investigates found the district had only spent a fraction of the money.
Where is that money today?
When I came on, about $1 million had been spent, and we've spent about $3 million in this past year.
Why has it taken so long for this money to be spent?
So we did not want to spend it quickly just to spend it. And when I came in, even though this was new to me, I knew that this was in response to STEM, and I knew how valuable this money was. So I wanted to spend it wisely.
Gruising says they've spent more than half the money. Most of those dollars were spent on improving radio communication in the district's 9 high schools and 2 big charter schools. The district spent $500,000 installing door alarms and exterior doors.
Our principals know when doors are open longer than they should be.
Other projects included installing bulletproof windows, providing training for law enforcement, and buying Stop the Bleed kits for inside schools.
Government goes slow sometimes.
Laura Thomas is one of the commissioners who voted to give the district the money.
I really believe that the school district is on the right path to spending that money appropriately now.
We also spoke with John Castillo. His son Kendrick was killed in the STEM school shooting. Castillo still questions why it took the district this long to spend the money. He's glad to see more of the money spent, but wants more transparency in the process. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kowaleski.
Thousands of kids in Jefferson County, Colorado's second largest school district, are back in class today. And one thing affecting schools this year are staffing shortages, especially bus drivers. Right now, the district isn't providing bus routes for its 8 option schools. There were similar issues last year, and the district had to consolidate routes, add students to routes, or make those bus routes longer. The district only has about 310 bus drivers, but they'd like to have 375.
We were losing individuals because of burnout. So we had to make cuts to be able to retain the people we had. And then at the same time, the staffs that were working, we had to also try to preserve them.
The district says it will not be giving out signing bonuses this year because it didn't help with retention. Instead, the district will give out retention bonuses. Denver 7's Nicole Brady sat down with Jeffco Superintendent Tracy Dorland. They talked about the challenges for schools with labor and other rising costs and falling student enrollment. Dorland also discussed school closures and the new educational options for students. You can watch that interview right now on thedenverchannel.com. The Colorado Secretary of State's office is considering changing rules for school board elections. The proposals include setting contribution limits to candidates for school district directors. There would be a $2,500 limit for people other than small donor committees and $25,000 for small donor committees. The post-election report filing deadline would extend from 30 days to 35 days. A public hearing about the potential changes is scheduled for September 15th. The Broncos will have to start making some cuts before their second preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. The league has 3 roster cut deadlines, and the first is today. So the Broncos will have to cut down to 85 players. The roster will have to be down to 53 2 weeks from today. Well, coming up, bees are the backbone of our environment, but they're facing a major problem: climate change.